Hi everyone, Ryan here with Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be doing the analysis and prediction for DC versus Stipe, the rubber match. If you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and like this video and also subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate your support. So DC versus Stipe, the rubber match, just a couple days away at this point. Finally here. Been really looking forward to this one. The match couldn't be bigger. A lot of people are talking about whether or not the winner of this fight should be rightfully crowned the greatest heavyweight of all time. And I kind of agree with it, kind of don't. First of all, I think Stipe currently is the greatest heavyweight of all time. If he gets the win in this one, he maintains the title and wins it walking away. Greatest heavyweight of all time. No questions asked. DC comes out with the win. I feel a little bit differently about it. It adds to his legacy. I don't quite think it puts him in the ranking for the greatest heavyweight of all time, though. So, nevertheless, the fight could not be bigger. It will just add to each man's legacy. I'm sure they're just motivation overflowing. Couldn't be bigger. Both men need this win to just take them that much further. When I start to think about this fight, the first thing that comes to my mind is the strengths that each man has. I look at Stipe. He's clearly the more powerful man. He's got the more powerful punch. He's also longer, and that reach can really help him out. He can really use it to his advantage. DC, on the other hand, he's got the speed. I think he's a little bit quicker on his feet. He's definitely got the faster hands, and he's absolutely got the superior wrestling. Now the question comes down, how is each man going to use those strengths, cover up those weaknesses to try to come out with a victory? And when I think about each man stepping in there and how it's going to play out for him, I think we're going to see a little bit of each, which unsurprisingly is what we saw in their second fight. Now, that being said, the key differences in this one, I think it's going to come down to Daniel Cormier's fight IQ. He came out recently, he's come out in a couple interviews and he said a few very interesting things. Number one, he said that he gassed in that first fight. We could see it, but it's us seeing it is a little bit differently than him coming out and admitting it. Two, he said why he got gassed in that fight. He said that during the fight camp, going into that fight, that he was really concerned and really focused on making sure that he made it to the fight and that he didn't have to pull out with an injury. So anytime that he was in camp, he felt anything tighten up, he felt anything tweak a little bit, he would immediately step off the gas pedal, pull the training back a little bit so that he would make sure that he could make it. That negatively affected his cardio. We saw it in the fight. It was grueling, and his cardio failed him. He has said he's not going to repeat that mistake. He said that in training camp this time, he just kept it full on. He wanted to make sure that he could come out here and perform at 100%. And the last thing was he came out in this interview and he said, we're fighting in the smaller cage. This isn't over in Fight Island where they're fighting in the regular full-size cage. This one's in Vegas at the Apex Center where they fight in the smaller cage. And he said, by us being in that cage, it's going to allow me to get to Stipe's legs easier. Yeah. The Olympic wrestler said it's going to allow him to get to his legs easier. So you think about the fact that he said his cardio failed him, and this is going to allow him to get to his legs easier. Those two things go hand in hand, because one of the things that he's going to do to preserve his cardio is he's going to use his wrestling more. When he's on top and he's got Stipe on his back, guess what? That doesn't use a lot of energy for Daniel Cormier. He could do that all day long. The man's been wrestling his entire life. So when they get into the octagon this time and they actually step in, I think this one's going to play towards Daniel Cormier's favor. I think the smaller octagon's going to allow him to fight in the phone booth like he likes more. Comes in, does that hand fighting, uses his really quick hands to land his shots over the top. I think that the smaller cage is going to play into his wrestling, which he's hinted at that he's going to use to preserve his cardio. He's absolutely got the superior wrestling against Stipe. He's going to be able to go in there and get him down. He's going to be able to hold him down. Not 100% of the time or anything crazy like that. This isn't like when he outclassed Rumble Johnson on the ground or even Derek Lewis. Stipe is an accomplished wrestler in his own right. But over the long haul, he's not going to be stopping too many of DC's takedowns. He's not going to be getting up very easy. Nothing like that. If DC wants to hold a man down, he's going to be able to do it. Stipe, on the other hand, what he needs to do, he needs to be first. He needs to counter the counter. And he needs to try to back Cormier up. I don't think he's going to counter the counter or be able to back Daniel Cormier up with much success. However, I do think there's some times when he's going to be able to be first. And he's going to see some success with there. He wants to keep this fight at a little bit more distance, wants to try to use his jab. He's going to see that at times. He's going to be able to do that and make it work. I just don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think he's going to be able, especially in that small cage, I don't think he's going to be able to use his jab to keep Cormier at distance and keep him at bay, leg kicks, anything like that. I don't think he's going to be able to threaten enough with his wrestling to keep DC hesitant to try to back him up. I see DC being able to do what he does best in this one. He's going to come forward. Like I said, he's going to hand fight, get the takedowns, things like that. Stipe's tough as hell. I don't know if Cormier is necessarily going to get the finish, but I do see him walking off into the sunset this one with his hand raised. Down in the comments, please let me know what you guys think. How do you think this one's going to turn out? How do you think it's going to look? Who do you think is going to win? Are they going to look good doing it? Is it going to be a battle? Is this going to be a barn burner? They're going to get the finish? I mean, ultimately, an argument could be made for any of those things. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it.